Hey there, Lens Legends, and welcome to another episode of the Portrait Profit Show, where we focus on the business side of photography, the real business challenges that professional photographers face every single day. I'm your host, Jim Landers, your guide on the business side, and it's my mission to uplift portrait photographers to make a great income doing what they love. If you're new here, let me tell you what we're all about. This is where we cut through the noise and get straight to what actually helps you build a sustainable, profitable photography business. Each week on the Portrait Profit Show, you get tips and systems on the business side of photography designed to help you gain a mastery over marketing and sales, reducing the struggles that most photographers face so you can finally get what you deserve. This show is for photographers who feel they've got something to learn on the business side. So if that's you, well, you're in the right place. Welcome to the Portrait Profit Show. Portrait Profit Show is brought to you by Digital Pro Lab and Landers Photography School. And for Digital Pro Lab, Amanda and her wonderful, amazing team make you look like a hero. And let me tell you a little bit about why that is. Amanda and Ray, the owners, have been working their entire careers, a very long time. And they hire people who have that same level of interest and caring about what it is that they do. They're not hiring just the lowest price person. They're hiring career people who love what they do. And you know what the side effect is? Just because they love what they do, you look like a hero to your clients. If you haven't tried Digital Pro Lab yet, please, right now, go to after the show, but go to digitalprolab.com and see the difference that Digital Pro Lab can make for you and your business. And of course, for Landers Photography School, well, that's me. And I teach the photography side and the business side, although I spend most of my time teaching the business side. And I've got 250 different classes that I've written over the years. So therefore, I've probably got something that you could benefit from. But you won't know unless you reach out. And you know what? I make reaching out really easy. I'm going to put this on the screen right now. There is the URL. All you have to do is reach out. That takes you to my calendar, so that you can see what my availability is and we can talk about you and what you want to do. Now, maybe it winds up in you taking a class. Maybe it doesn't. A lot of the people who take advantage of this 15-minute free call don't do anything other than get some good information. And maybe later they'll take a class, but there's no push for it at all. In 15 minutes, I actually don't have time to give you any kind of push. And that's not really my personality anyway. I want to work with people who want to work with me. Therefore, they generally just ask, what can I do to sign up? Yeah, that's usually what happens. I don't usually ask. Well, that's the URL. Write that down. Do a screenshot if you need to. I'm taking that off the screen for now. I might bring it back up later. But Landers Photography School, happy to help you. Now, I want to encourage you today to make comments and ask questions throughout the lesson. I want you to go right now, though, to the comment section and enter in hashtag live. I can see a couple of you have already done that. Hashtag live. That tells me that you're watching me here right now, live today on either Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn or YouTube or simulcast to a handful of different places. Now, for those of you who are watching the replay, I want you to comment hashtag replay. That lets me know that you're watching it later, not during the session like I'm doing live right now. I see a bunch of you here right now. I'm going to do a shout out to maybe 3 of you. So I want to say hi to Tina and to, let's see, how about Alex and Robin and Robert? Oh, I said 3 and I just did 4. All right. Maybe I'll do some more a little bit later. But thank you guys for being here. Thank you for watching. I love doing those shout outs. I want to move right into this lesson. You know, the responses you give matter, just like the images you create. Every day we handle client situations, questions, and requests that require thoughtful responses. You know this. When someone asks about rescheduling or some other policy question, or maybe they ask about how you handle, let's say, an energetic toddler, or of course, the pricing questions, your answers shape their experience with your business. So, having clear, ready, professional responses to these common situations gets you clear on the situations. It saves you time, it reduces your stress, and creates a consistent experience for every single client. And your confidence level is through the roof because you know how to respond to every question. A response playbook gives you confidence and consistency in your communication. I'm going to show you how to build this essential tool. We'll cover how to create responses that align with your values, protect your business, and strengthen client relationships. The response playbook isn't about memorizing scripts, although because you're using it, you will come to memorize it, but it won't be just memorization. You'll know this because you're the creator of it. It's about having well crafted answers to the questions and situations that come up in your photography business. And it's something that you and any staff you may have has easy access to. Now, by the end of this lesson, you'll understand why you need a response playbook and how to create your own that grows with your business and helps you communicate professionally in every business interaction. Let's get started with this powerful tool. Now, if you're ready for this, if you think this sounds good, it does. Do me a favor, write ready in the comments. Just go over to the comment section real quick, write ready. And if you haven't already, I want you to enter in a hashtag live, letting me know that you're watching us here live. And as always, there's a handout available for every single one of these lessons. And it does go further into detail. It does help you understand just a little bit better. Now, if you'd like to take advantage of that, just use the QR code up here in the top corner, and if you don't have, it's if you're watching with your cell phone, you may not be able to do that. So let me also tell you what the URL is for this handout. Put that up now. Do a quick screenshot of that because I'm not going to leave that up for very long. All right. So use the QR code or use this URL here, and you'd have to type it in. And unless I could, all right, I'm going to put that in the comments section real quick. Now this doesn't show up on all the places that I'm simulcasting to. So if you're on one of the places that simulcast this, you'll see this URL that you can just click on in the comments section. If you're not on one of those, well, then yeah, you'll have to type that in. All right. There we go. What is a response playbook? Now, I've touched on it, but I feel like I need to give this a better description, a better definition. So, the response playbook is your self created go to collection of professional responses for business situations you have faced or you anticipate facing. It grows and it's amended throughout the life of your business as you encounter new questions and situations from prospects, clients, vendors, and anyone else in your business environment. This is your script book of ready to use, proven ways to handle various scenarios that come up. It aligns with your 5 workspace statements. I assume you know what the 5 workspace statements are because we cover them relatively often in the Portrait Profit Show. This is something that I've come up with, and I believe that your 5 workspace statements are something you need to define for yourself, but also have in your workspace where you're constantly being influenced by the things that matter most to you. Your mission statement, your vision statement, your value statement, your ideal client, and your compelling description. This, especially for today, we are especially talking about your value statement when you're creating this response playbook. It also aligns with your procedure manual. This is where values meet practical application. It's it's about what to say, but it's also about how to say it with confidence and authority that reflects your value. Creating a response playbook helps you transform challenging conversations into opportunities. It keeps client relationships strong while protecting your business values. And when working with a team, it prepares your whole team in knowing how to handle different situations, causing you to maintain professional consistency throughout your business. Even if you're a one person business, having responses builds your confidence. Whether you're saying yes to an exciting opportunity or no to a request that doesn't align with your goals, your words are clear, professional, and consistent. Although most entries in your playbook will focus on client interactions, I want to make sure you understand it's not limited to that. This tool is extremely valuable for managing communication with vendors, with alliance partners, with nonprofit groups, with community organizations, with inter-office things that you do. This is not something the response playbook is internal. It's for your business. It's not something that is outward facing. Now, a frequently asked questions is, and I'll cover that in a little bit. It is beneficial with anyone who interacts with your business. You'll include responses to things like requests for free services in exchange for exposure. Sometimes yes is the right answer. You actually are not going to create just one response for every single one of these questions that you come up with. It's quite possible that you have multiple answers based on what is going on in that situation. It's totally up to you. Now, collaboration offers that don't align with your goals will also be in there. Prospecting client questions about pricing, about scheduling, about copyright usage will be in there. Partnership opportunities. Now, this is just to name a few. There's a lot of things that come up when visiting with people in your business, whether that's a client or someone else. So your playbook isn't just a client communication guide. It's a professional communication tool that gives you clarity across every business relationship. Are you feeling this? If so, tell me yes. Go over to the comments right now and just say yes. Now, if you want to say more, if you want to share a story, I love that too. But just let me know that you're paying attention by typing in the word yes in the comments. Also, make sure to hit that like button or that love button when you hear something that you like. If you haven't already, if you haven't already told me that you're watching right now, enter in hashtag live into the comments section. All right, chapter 2. I want to make sure that I'm being really clear. You may think you have a good idea of this, and that's great, but not everybody does. And there's a little more I can share about why you need a response playbook. Even if you're an independent photographer, this or the response playbook is a thoughtfully prepared collection of answers to questions and scenarios that we anticipate or have encountered. Now, that doesn't mean that it's common or uncommon. It's usually common. Yeah, it's filled up with the common encounters, but it's everything that you cross paths with when interacting with prospects, with clients, with vendors, with partners, whoever it is you're dealing with in your business. It contains our best responses to everything from basic inquiries to challenging objections, all organized for quick access when needed. Think of it as your conversation companion. It's not a script to follow robotically. It's a resource that helps you deliver consistent, high quality communication, even when you're caught off guard. Some businesses call this type of tool a Q&A script, but that would be too thin. This is much more than that. Some of them call it a conversation guide. I've heard it called a talk track, but that is actually more specific to a script, something that you go through one thing after the other. So I can see the correlation now. A customer response framework, an objection handler, a communication playbook, a frequently asked questions document. Although I mentioned it before, and I'll mention it again, that is public facing, whereas a response playbook is internal facing. Sales teams often use names like objection handling guide, sales playbook. I call it a response playbook. And I believe that every portrait photography business, yes, even the ones with just one person doing everything, by the way, these are the ones I work with the most. All photography businesses benefit from having a response playbook. So, what are the benefits? The benefits to the business first, it reduces miscommunications and misunderstandings. It creates alignment across all areas of client communication. It helps identify frequently asked questions and objections. It builds a sense of consistency and reliability that strengthens your brand. It creates a foundation for long term growth. What are the benefits to the client? Well, faster, clearer, and more accurate responses. Confidence that they're working with a professional, a smoother, more enjoyable experience. Then what are the benefits to you? Well, how about reducing anxiety and decision fatigue? It frees up mental space. It frees up your time. It gives you a professional polish. It helps you appear more experienced, even if you're brand new. It allows you to improve and refine your client communication over time. It makes you it makes your communication more consistent regardless of your current mood, your current energy level. It supports you during high stress or busy times. It becomes a training tool if you ever hire help or if you partner with someone. Now, you may be thinking, I already know this stuff. I know the answers. It's my business. Why would I bother writing it down? Okay. I know not everybody feels that way. Most people who have had that response. Here's why. Even if you're a one person business, you save time because you don't have to reinvent your responses every single time. You don't have to craft new messages if you're answering a question via email or via a web form or on social media. You're just copying and pasting. You protect your values. You're consistent even when tired or under pressure. You grow smarter. You can refine and improve responses based on real world experience. You relieve pressure. You're less likely to blurt something you'll wish you had said differently. You prepare for the future. One day, someone else may need to know how you handle things. When writing a response, you do not have to recraft the text each time. You just copy and paste and possibly tweak to serve the specific purpose. Is this resonating with you today? If yes, will you do me a favor and just tell me that? Just say yes in the comments. Just let me know. And if you haven't already, enter in hashtag live, letting me know that you're watching live. Hashtag live. And you can see up here in this top corner, that's how you get the handout. As always, with every single one of these lessons, there's a handout. You just have to use that QR code, or I can give you the URL again. You can use that URL in order to get that handout. Now, I do send these myself. So therefore, can't do it while I'm doing this. It will be afterwards. But that is how you take advantage of that. Now, if you need help with any of the things that I am talking about today, uh, let me tell you how to get a hold of me. I mentioned that before, but there it is again. That is to get onto my account. If you need help with any of these suggestions, this is a this one's free. You can get started with a free 15-minute call. And this is done via Zoom. Usually I can do it via phone, but I actually prefer to see you and see your reactions. And so that's why I do it via Zoom, but I do allow you to choose between the two. Sometimes it's just more convenient to do it as a phone call for you. And that's fine. And so if you need help with any of my suggestions today or Otherwise, that's how you take advantage of that. So let's talk about how to build your response playbook. Now, I don't want you to overthink the format because you just need it to be useful and easy to access. So it could be a tabbed three ring binder, like I've done for many different purposes over many different years. I've got I've got them all over the place, right here in this environment and in other places throughout the area here. So, yeah, I use three ring binders a lot. I like them to I like having a place to put paper things, but a lot of things we do aren't paper, and I'm gonna show you something that's, uh, it's scalable and in a lot of different ways. So, while it could be that three-ring binder, I want to suggest another approach that is simple to start, easy to scale, and keeps everything organized in one place that you can access from multiple points. For some of you, this approach will be intimidating at first. Others will already be comfortable with it because you've done it a million times. Either way, I want this information to be easy for you to use right away and easy to continue to build with over time. If you've never created a digital document like this before, don't worry, but get excited because not only do you not need to be a tech expert to make this work, the additional benefits are going to impress you. The additional ways you're going to be able to use this are going to impress you. This isn't about finding the perfect tool. It's about doing something that's easy for you to get started with, easy to use, easy to keep going. So I'm going to start you off with, and here's the steps with just a Google Docs. Arguably the easiest and most effective way to create your response playbook is with Google Drive. It's free, accessible from any device. You can update, organize, and search it quickly. If you've never used Google Drive before, here's how to get started. So the first thing is you are opening up your web browser and you're going to docs.google.com. It's quite possible that you already use uh, Google Chrome, Google Calendar, some other Google products. So you may already be signed in. You probably have a Google account already, but if you don't, it's easy to get one. If you don't have a Google account, you sign up following the directions on the screen as soon as you go there. So once you're signed in, you're going to click the new button. And I'm sure those of you who have done this before recognize that it's almost that big. Yeah, it's huge. If there's something else on your page, it'll be on the left side. If your page is blank, it'll be right in the center, and way bigger than that actually. So then I want you to select folder and name it Response Playbook. Now, you can title it whatever you want because that's what I call it. That's why I'm telling you to call it Response Playbook. Now, inside that folder, you'll begin the structure. You'll start with one document, but this structure gives you room to grow. You'll be able to easily organize categories, responses, even team training materials down the road. But right now, we're just starting to build this response guidebook, a playbook. So moving on to step two, I want you to define your why. The very first document that you'll create inside your response playbook folder is your why statement. This is the foundation. It explains the purpose of the playbook, not just what it is, but why it matters to your business. So, here's some steps to create your why statement. So, inside your response playbook folder, click the new button, like I showed you before. Then choose Google Docs. Uh, choose choose Docs, just Docs. I don't think it says Google Docs. Anyway, then the second thing is to title this document "Why" statement, WHY statement dash response playbook. That way, it's very clear on what this why statement is. It's a why statement about why you're doing this response playbook. And I want you to write a short paragraph explaining the purpose of this playbook in your business. First of all, what role will this response playbook play in your business? I'm going to give you an example of this in just a second. The second thing is, why is it important to you, your clients, and your long term goals? And the third thing is, how will it help you grow in clarity and in confidence? So here's an example of what that might sound like. This response playbook exists to help Landers Photography. Obviously, you're going to put your business name there. This response playbook exists to help Landers Photography communicate clearly, confidently, and consistently in every part of the business. It reflects my values and helps me protect my boundaries while building strong relationships with clients, partners, and community contacts. That's it. Now, you might not have been able to write that down fast enough or not even thought to write it down. Take advantage of the handout. That way you don't have to write it down because that's in there. All that text is in there, all my words. So your why is what sets the tone and reminds you, and anyone you may share this with later, why this exists and what it's here to do and to protect. Defining your why turns this into a tool with a purpose, a trusted resource that you'll actually use. Let's move on to the next step of this process. Create a folder inside your response playbook for every major category of communication. This will help you organize different types of responses so they're easy to find when you need them. Let me give you some examples of some of these sections, these categories that you might include. And I'll put that on the screen, and you can do a screenshot of that if you want. So here's a few of those: pricing and value questions, discount and free questions, objections and concerns, rescheduling and policy scenarios, product or service information, workflow and process explanations, special requests and exceptions, communication with vendors and partners, responses for referred prospects. Now, this is just some suggestions. Some of these might not even apply to you. You may have some, maybe you have more. You may want to condense some of these. Totally up to you. But what this does is it keeps everything clean, searchable, and easy to navigate, especially as your playbook grows. Let's move on to the next step, step 4. Add a document to each category folder. Inside each category folder, you'll create one Google Doc named with the same name as the folder. For example, under pricing and value questions folder, you'll have a doc that says pricing and value questions doc. That document will hold all the questions and responses that relate to that specific category. You're grouping them this way because it helps you find what you need without digging through these just scattered files. Each of these docs will contain the questions and your carefully written response for each. The same kind of language you would use in real conversation, but thought out ahead of time. Begin each document by writing out a common question or scenario that you've encountered. By the way, it's not always questions, it's sometimes scenarios, but we're talking about a response playbook. There are things that we respond to that aren't necessarily questions. Then type your ideal response, the one you want to go or moving forward. Be clear, confident, and consistent with your values. That's why you want your 5 workspace statements in your environment all the time so you're constantly influenced by them. If your response would vary based on who you're talking to or what situation you're in, go ahead and include those variations also. Let me give you a couple of example questions. So, under rescheduling and policy scenarios, You're going to want to ask a question like, Can I reschedule at the last minute? Or is there a time ahead of time where I need to reschedule by before it's too late? Whatever common question, whatever expectation you might have, you ask those questions and you give potential answers. Under discount and free requests category, maybe you have a question that says, "Do you offer military discounts?" And what is your response to that? You know what? You can get my entire section of that one, the discount and free requests, in my Portrait Profit Show number 208 handout. If you watched recently, it was only a few weeks ago, called Friends with Benefits. Uh, that one has my entire section, everything written out. I mean, you can just copy it, paste it, and tweak it and make it your own. So that would be Portrait Profit Show number 208, 208, Friends with Benefits. So you can go back and get that handout if you think that would be valuable. How about some example responses for the pricing and value questions section? So a question might be, why are your prices more expensive than others? Let me give you a response to that. I focus on delivering premium quality and you would maybe define what that means to you, the premium quality. So I focus on delivering premium quality by and insert your specific details. While there are lower cost options available, my clients find the additional investment worthwhile because, and you can include some kind of a benefit. Would you like me to share more information about what makes my approach different? So that's a possible response. Let me give another question and possible response. Here's a question, and this is again in the pricing section. Can you match the quote I got from another photographer? A possible response. My services are carefully priced to reflect the value and experience I provide. While I understand that quotes vary, I don't match pricing because my pricing is based on delivering exceptional results, not competing on price. I'm happy to walk you through what's included if that would be helpful. So there's a possible response. These kinds of responses reflect your values. They encourage understanding, they set expectations, they invite conversation, they protect your pricing integrity in this instance. So I've got a suggestion. As you are writing each one of these category documents, use formatting to make your Q&A easy to read and scan. So maybe bold the questions, leave a space between the entries, just make it easy for you to look through and to find. Let's talk about how to keep that playbook useful. This isn't a set it and forget it kind of tool. Your playbook is meant to evolve with your business. So here's how it remains valuable over time. When when a new situation comes up, you add it to the appropriate section. You may find you have to add a new section or subdivide a section. And then you add that situation, that question, and you add an appropriate response. If a conversation didn't go the way you hoped, use that moment to improve your wording for the next time. If you don't have time to complete both the question or the situation at that moment, write down the question or the situation and then add it to the space and then add a space to your schedule to review, add, edit, or polish any response you might have given. If you only have time to get the situation added to the doc, use the comments feature in Google Docs to flag responses you'd like to spend some more time with, you'd like to improve. That's the comments feature in Google Docs. If you bring on help in the future, this becomes a ready-made training tool that captures your tone, your policies, and your approach. I recommend that you keep your playbook bookmarked or starred on your devices. So it's always one click away. And when I say devices, that means your desktop, your laptop, your cell phone, your iPad. Now, once you've actually gotten this to a point where it's going, it's doing well, you're pretty confident with it. You've asked all the questions you anticipate. You've given good answers. I want to share with you just touch on this because I don't want you to go this route just yet, but I want you to know there's something that just explodes the ability of this, the use of this. And so I want to tell you about two optional tools that you will explore later. Not right now, but later. So once your folder based playbook is working well, you can explore tools like Notebook LM. I'll put that, let's see, I'll put that on the screen real quick. So like Notebook LM, you can upload these documents to and ask questions across all categories. It helps you surface and summarize information quickly. Or Notion, and that is a visual tool some creatives like for building internal systems. You can migrate your structure later if you prefer something more dynamic, and Notion is one way to do that. So Notebook LM and Notion. I'll put that Notebook LM URL there one more time, and Notion. By the way, you're going to be using tools like this or something else may come along later because AI is moving along so quickly. But these are ways to uh, turn your these documents that you create into your own learning model. So it would be a small language learning model instead of a LLM, it'd be an SLM. But these are the tools that you use for that. Now that's for later. Don't be overwhelmed by that. It's nothing to get overwhelmed about. But because you're creating this structure that I'm talking about today, you are going to be set up for the future where someone else is going to have to build that out. You're a step ahead of them because you've already built the structure that you have to do in order to create an SLM. But that's not for today. That's for later. That was just a tease. Don't start there. Start with a simple system, the simple system that we've been talking about. What matters most is that your response playbook is ready when you need it. Whether you're preparing for a conversation, replying to an email, feeling unsure about how to respond, your playbook helps you show up with clarity and confidence. Chapter 4. It's the last chapter. We're going to talk about using and growing your response playbook. So, we're stepping into the future a little bit, and you've built your response playbook structure, just the structure, something that you can do today. You've written your why statement, why you're doing this. Again, something you can do today. You've created your category folders and you started filling them with your responses. Well, now what? This chapter is about putting your playbook to work. So it becomes part of how you operate, not just something you created and forgot at some point. Yeah, I've done that kind of thing. First, you're making it easy to access. A playbook is something you actually use. So make sure it's easy to use. Bookmark the response playbook folder in your browser. Open your phone or tablet. Use the Google Drive app and star the folder for quick access. Keep a shortcut on your desktop if you use your computer often. If you're in Gmail or Google Calendar a lot, add the response playbook folder to your quick access panel in Google Drive. This is not the type of file that should gather dust. It's a tool to keep handy. You'll likely refer to it daily. You use it in real time during conversations, especially when you feel caught off guard or you're not feeling 100%. Open your playbook, scan for the situation. And even if you don't read the response word for word, it will center you. You'll be reminded of what you believe, what your values are, how you're supposed to respond, how you want to show up in this conversation. If you need a moment, you could buy yourself some time by saying, "It's a good question. I want to give you the best answer I can. So let me double check something quickly. And that's when you have this opportunity, this chance to refer to your playbook without that awkwardness, without that pressure. Now, you're keeping this thing alive. Your playbook is not a one-time project, it's a living document system, a container for the clarity that you continue to gain throughout your experience as a professional photographer. Here's how to keep it evolving. Add new Q&As after real-world interactions. Every time you come across a question or a scenario, a situation that you know is not yet in your response playbook, or you feel like you have more information now to clarify it, make it even better, go back to it and revise the language based on what you now know. Now, this could be on what worked or what didn't work. Mark any weak responses with a comment so you can revisit them. Review one folder per week or every other week or per month, but keep it manageable, but keep it consistent. When you feed it, this system becomes more valuable over time. Now, I mentioned this earlier. Maybe you wind up with future team members. So you can use this to train future team members. Even if you're a one person business now, building your playbook is, well, it's a scalable tool that pays off later. When you eventually bring on help, whether that's an assistant, a uh, maybe it's an intern, a studio manager, a salesperson, a seasonal shooter, an alliance partner. Your playbook gives them a foundation for professional communication. Your tone, your phrasing, your boundaries, your policies already expressed with clarity and care. You're not starting from scratch when someone joins your team. You already have a training guide built. Of course, you're going to want to review this so that you remain in alignment. Your playbook is more than just a group of questions and replies. It's an expression of how you handle communication in your business. So this means that it aligns with your brand values, your policies and your procedures, your pricing and your positioning. It aligns with your future goals. As you grow and evolve, the way you speak about things might just change. That's why scheduled reviews are important, even if it's just once per quarter. Maybe you ask this question: does this response still reflect the level of client experience that I want to deliver? Or have my policies shifted in a way that this answer no longer completely supports? How about is my tone still in alignment with how I want to be seen? Your playbook evolves as your business evolves. Of course, we always want to measure the impact of every single thing that we're doing. You'll know your response playbook is working when you start to notice things like less time spent retyping the same responses, fewer awkward moments in calls or in emails, more consistency in how you and anyone on your team communicate, better clarity in setting expectations with clients, less stress and decision fatigue. If you're getting clearer, faster, and more confident in your interactions, you're doing this right. Now, it does take some time to put this together. It's not that it's difficult, but it's not something I think that you should try and do all in one sitting. Maybe try and get the categories put in one setting. But as far as adding all the questions that you can think of, you're not going to come up with all of those. So as you come up with them, add them to the response playbook. Just take a moment and do that. And if you need help with any of these suggestions, obviously, I encourage you to take advantage of my private coaching sessions, and you can get started with a free 15-minute lesson. Let's put that up on the screen. There it is. Just go to that URL. You know what? Take a moment, go to the comment section, and take a moment to share one takeaway from today's show. Let me know something that you learned today, or something that you're going to employ today, or something that you've done that has worked so that others can see how this is beneficial? Share something with me in the comments. Doesn't have to be long. And by the way, if you don't have something to share, you could share some appreciation. It takes time to put these lessons together. You could say, "Thanks, Jim. Of course, I appreciate that. I like those likes. I like those loves. And I like those. Thanks, Jim. You did great. I appreciate that." Yeah, those things make me feel good. They're my fuel. Keep them coming. Take a moment. Just share something in the comments. Now, let me share some closing thoughts with you. The images you create matter. The responses you give and how you choose your words, they matter too. How you respond shapes how people experience your business. It even sets the tone for trust, clarity, and professionalism, sometimes more than you realize in that moment. Your response playbook is a reflection of your standards, your values, and your voice. It allows you to lead every conversation with professionalism and with clarity. So begin today. I challenge you to share your why statement with me. Just post it and enter in hashtag portrait profits so that I know that you've done that. Otherwise, I won't know. Hashtag portrait profits. Every step you take is a step towards clarity, consistency, and confidence. You're not behind. Right now is the right time. You're building something with intention, and every entry you add is a gift to your future self. Hope you enjoyed this. Now, you probably know this already, but you can find Portrait Profits on our social channels. I'll put those up on the screen real quick. Facebook, Instagram. That's also on YouTube. Although I guess I don't have the YouTube. Yep. Well, you can do a search for YouTube. By the way, on YouTube, these are live shows, so therefore it's not in the videos tab. It's in the lives tab. Every once in a while, someone will say, "Where are all your videos? Didn't you say this was episode number?" This is 212. 212. Why aren't there a lot more videos up? Well, because these are lives. You have to actually click the live tab to get live videos. Yes, they are recorded after you've created them, but I uploaded them live to YouTube. So they're in the live tab. They're not in the videos tab. Videos are pre-recorded. This was done live. So therefore, right across the top, right underneath the description of what um, the channel is about, it gives you several different options. Live is one of many options that are there. Shorts are there. There's a bunch. So make sure you go over to live and you see well over 100. I don't remember exactly. We have not all of them are there. There's 212 total episodes of this show that we've created as of today. But I think there's 150 that are actually available online, which at an hour each, there's a lot of information available on that YouTube channel. By the way, we kept everything on the Facebook channel live, but Facebook has changed their rules once again, and so they'll be taking those down after I believe 30 days. So they'll sit there for a little while, but they won't last very long. You won't be able to go back in time. Which, as far as the space that we're taking up, videos take up a lot of space. So they're going to gain a lot of space when they delete all those videos. I understand their decision. So I want to give you a couple of announcements for those of you who are interested in taking a Photo 101 class or revisiting the basics. I've got a couple of classes that are coming up at the end of next month. Reach out to me if you're interested in a photo 101. This will be a field trip style where we go somewhere, we walk around, we talk about it, and we actually do it. It's not just a lecture class like most of my classes used to be, all lecture classes. And this is actually going out and doing what it is we're talking about. And there's two different versions. There's one that happens on 4 consecutive Wednesdays. There's another one that happens on a single Saturday, to get it done all in one fell swoop. So those are available. You just have to reach out to me. There's links and stuff available, but I'm not going to give you links for everything because I'm giving you a bunch. I'm going to give you one more link in just a little bit, so I don't want to add too many. You just reach out to me, jim@landersphotoschool.com, if you're interested in the Photo 101 or other classes. jim@landersphotoschool.com. Also, in the announcements category, I have rewritten the career photographer program, and I'm going to put that QR code there on the screen. The career photographer program is my signature coaching program for committed portrait photographers who want to build a highly profitable, low volume, profitable business so you can make a bigger impact, enjoy more freedom, and increase your income with confidence. So if you would like more information, there's a program guide here to let you know what the program is all about. And you just use that QR code to get that information about the career photographer program. It is a year's worth of coaching. It's private coaching, it's group coaching, it's actual uh, online classes. It's a lot of support for professional photographers, whether you're just starting out or whether you've been doing this for a while and maybe struggling. So the career photographer program. And of course, we do the Portrait Profit Show every single week. So I want to tell you what is coming up, what you can expect in on our on March 31st. I'm just going to tell you about the next one. The next one is called Blueprint to Bookings. And let's see, there it is. Plan your website in 24 hours with AI. Now, I don't actually know how to do this, but I know someone who does. Ready for a productive website that brings in ideal clients? In this episode next week, I'll be interviewing website expert and author Andrew Martinez, who reveals how portrait photographers can create a complete website blueprint in just 24 hours using AI. Now, even if you've never used AI, you're going to find this easy. No tech skills are required. Whether you're planning your first site or refreshing an existing one, this will help your photography business stand out online. You're going to want to add this lesson to your calendar. Everyone can use a boost to their website. And if you don't have one, well, you can definitely use a boost. Put that on your calendar. March 31st at noon, Blueprint to Bookings. Plan your website in 24 hours with AI. I want to thank you for joining me today. Lens Legends, you rock. I appreciate you. Please like and share the Portrait Profit Show. And of course, join us next week for another Portrait Profits live stream. Today, we explored how a response playbook builds confident connections, protects your boundaries, and helps you communicate like the pro you are. Now, it's time to take that clarity and put it to work. Open up your Google Drive, create your response folder, write your why statement, and start building the legacy of clear, professional communication. And I'd sure love to know your why statement. If you don't mind, post it with the hashtag Portrait Profits. Or you could just share how this concept is helping you grow. But enter in hashtag portrait profits so I become aware. You're probably, you know what, that post, you'll probably inspire someone else to get started too. You're the voice of your business. Let's make that voice confident, kind, and unmistakably yours. For Landers Photography School and Digital Pro Lab, my name is Jim Landers, and I'm the host of the Portrait Profit Show, where we ignite passion and transform business. Until next week, Lens Legends, let me start that again. Until next week, Lens Legends, keep creating powerful emotional connections that transform both yours and your clients' lives. I look forward to watching you grow. You guys are awesome. I appreciate you. Bye for now.